Hello everyone and a very warm welcome to today's webinar. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. I hope everyone is doing well today. It's really great to see so many of you have already joined. We will wait for just a couple more minutes to allow a few more attendees to join and then we will get started. Right, I think we are good to begin now. Hope all the attendees have joined. Once again, a big welcome to everyone. Before we jump in, the chat, Q&A, polls and the reactions are available at the bottom of the screen and you can use them throughout the session. Let's do a quick check. Could you please give a thumbs up in the reaction if you can hear me clearly and see my screen properly? I repeat, let's do a quick check. Could you please give a thumbs up in the reaction if you can hear me clearly and see my screen properly? Fine, thanks for that. It's always great to know we are all on the same page. Now that we are set, let me quickly introduce myself and set the context for today's session. My name is Shalini and I am a Zoho developer at TekyDoct. TekyDoct is a Brunei-based technology partner organization and we work closely with businesses to help them streamline processes, reduce manual work and make smarter decisions using the Zoho ecosystem. So whether you are already using Zoho People or just exploring it, today's session will give you a clear, practical insight on how attendance and shift management can be simplified. The session is planned for around 60 minutes, but for next 20 minutes, I will walk you through the key concepts, real challenges, and how Zoho helps solve them in a simple, practical way. I hope by end of this session, everything I share will feel easy to understand and directly relevant to your work. Today's webinar is all about smart attendance and shift management using Zoho People. We will look at how organizations can easily track employee attendance, manage shifts, and handle work hours more efficiently, all from a single platform. We will also see how Zoho People helps reduce manual effort, avoid errors, and bring more transparency into day-to-day workforce management. By the end of this session, you will have a clear idea of how smart attendance and shift management can simplify HR operation and improve overall productivity. Let me quickly walk you through today's agenda so you know what to expect. We will start with the Zoho HR ecosystem, attendance automation, and the current challenges HR team face. Then we will move into shift and roster management, the reports and payroll readiness, and end with a Q&A session. And this gives you a clear roadmap of what we will cover and helps you follow along easily. If you are following along well, give us a thumbs up in the chat. Repeat, if you are following along well, give us a thumbs up in the reaction. Fine. Let me briefly introduce TekyDoct. TekyDoct is a Zoho Authorized Partner specializing in digital transformation and custom software solution. We have our headquarters in Brunei, Darussalam, with a branch office in Chennai, India. We help businesses streamline their operations and achieve measurable outcomes using Zoho solutions across industries. We combine Zoho product expertise, process understanding, and technical skills to deliver solutions that actually work in a real business scenarios. Zoho is a global cloud software company that offers more than 55 plus business applications. These applications cover everything from sales and marketing to finance, HR, operations, and customer support, helping businesses manage all their processing on a single platform. Today, Zoho serves over 130 million plus users across 150 plus countries, making it one of the most trusted and widely used business software platform in the world. When it comes to HR solution, Zoho provides a complete suite to manage their entire employee lifecycle. We have a Zoho People for core HR operation like attendance, leave, shift, and performance management. And we have Zoho Recruit, helps organizations streamline their hiring process from candidate sourcing to onboarding. And we have Zoho Payroll, simplifies salary processing, complaint, and payslip generation. Together, these HR solutions help organizations automate their HR tasks, reduce manual effort, ensure compliance, and create a better experience for both HR teams and employees. And this gives you a clear picture of the Zoho HR ecosystem. One of the Zoho's biggest strengths is its ecosystem. This slide shows how everything works together on one connected platform. Zoho People sits at the center as the core HR system, seamlessly connected with recruit, payroll, projects, analytics, CRM, and more applications. This means the entire employee journey from hiring to attendance, project tracking, and payroll flows automatically without manual work. HR teams get real time visibility, better control, and smarter insights all from a single system. Please take a moment to respond in the poll and let us know if you are an HR professional. Right? I can see the responses coming in now. Great participation. So let's go ahead and continue with this session. Let's take a moment to understand why HR needs digital transformation today. Even now, many organizations still depend on manual attendance and leave tracking using spreadsheets, registers, or emails. This often results in issues like proxy attendance, incorrect work hours, payroll mismatches, and eventually salary disputes. Approval processes become slow, follow-ups increase, and small errors turn into big problems by the end of the month. Another major challenge is the lack of real-time visibility. HR teams don't have instant access to attendance or shift data and are forced to rely on outdated reports or multiple files. Managers spend more time tracking people than focusing on productivity, while HR teams spend hours correcting data instead of working on strategic initiatives. Digital HR solutions solve these challenges by bringing automation, accuracy, and transparency into everyday HR operation, making attendance, leave, shift, and payroll processes faster, more reliable, and scalable as organizations grow. This clearly shows why digital HR is no longer optional, it's essential. So, how does Zoho People address all these challenges? It does this through policy driven automation. You can define your attendance, leave, and shift policies once, and Zoho People automatically enforces them, cutting down on manual work and errors. It offers real time tracking of attendance and work hours, giving HR teams and managers instant visibility. The platform is also highly scalable, making it suitable for both small teams and large growing organizations. Zoho People delivers enterprise-grade features at affordable pricing, which is why it's trusted by organizations across industries. Zoho People is already trusted by leading global brands like SpaceJet, McDonald's, and Daikin across industries where attendance accuracy and shift management are absolutely critical. I also noticed many of our attendees have joined us from Brunei. In fact, a well-known national network company, UNN, they are also using Zoho People to manage their HR operation. So this is not just a global solution. It works successfully in your region too. And if you're thinking this sounds interesting, but how do we get started? This good news is getting started is completely risk-free. Zoho People come with a 30-day free trial and there is no long-term commitment. You can try it with your real data, test attendance and shift policies, explore reports and dashboards, and see value for yourself before making any decision. Zoho People offers transparent and flexible pricing plans to suit different business needs and team sizes. As a Zoho Authorized Partner, our role is to first understand your exact requirements and then recommend the most suitable plan and features. So you are not paying for anything you don't actually need. You can also explore the Zoho People free plan to make it easy for you to get started. I have just shared the free trial sign up link in the chat. Feel free to use that link to sign up, explore the product, and experience the features hands on. I repeat, to make it easy for you to get started, I have just shared the free trial sign up link in the chat. Feel free to use that link to sign up, explore the product, and experience the features hands on. There are 4 plans available: Essential HR, Professional, Premium, and Enterprise. As you move from Essential HR to Enterprise, each plan adds more advanced capabilities, including attendance and shift management, performance management, analytics, and learning management. This way, you are not forced into one size fits all model. You choose a plan based on your current needs, and you can also scale up your organization grows. All the pricing plans are displayed on the screen right now. I hope this gives you a clear idea of what's available and helps you visualize the right fit for your organization. With that, I will now hand over this session to Ms. Risna, who will walk you through the real-time working scenario 5 for today's session and show exactly how everything looked in action.
Thank you very much, Shalini. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rizna, the HR expert at TekyDoct. Today, I'll walk you through attendance and shift management in Zoho People, not just in theory, but directly inside the system. I'll be using slides for structure and switching to Zoho People for live demonstration. Before that, let's run a quick poll. Please tell me how you track your attendance today, whether if it's using Excel or manual register, biometric only, or software solution. Otherwise, a combination of all these tools. CEO votes. Almost 69% of you are still using Excel and manual register. Some of you are also using a combination of different tools. Thank you for your participation. Now, before we move to attendance in Zoho People, please give me a quick thumbs up if my voice is clear and if my attendance view is visible. Thank you. Let's start with attendance. First, we will be covering regularization. A regularization is basically an option given to employees to raise requests and rectify an incorrect or missed attendance entries. For example, if an employee came to work at 9 a.m. and he has checked in at 10 a.m. because he forgot. In this situation, the employee can raise a regularization request which adds the missed 1 hour. When it comes to on-duty requests, let's say an employee has to go to the client location for meeting or work from home. In this case, rather than checking in and checking out, the employee can simply raise an on-duty request. The employee will be marked as present. We'll also see multiple work hours for different set of employees. Breaks also involve both paid and unpaid breaks. Then we have grace period. To understand grace period, we need to define what a deviation is. A deviation is, for example, if you have 8 hours as minimum working hours for a day. When an employee works for more, it is considered as overtime, and anything less is considered as deviation. So this grace period allows you to define rules for the number of permitted deviations when an employee arrives late, leaves early, or spends less time at work. Likewise, we can also set up overtime rules for employees working outside of their standard shift hours. Depending on your workforce, whether office, on-site, field, you can choose a method for attendance. Zoho People allows you to automatically categorize an employee's check-in as either office check-in or remote check-in. This is based on the selected attendance sources. For example, a direct check-in from mobile can be considered to be marked as remote check-in, whereas a biometric device-based entry like fingerprint can be marked as office check-in. Before we move to the next topic, it is important for us to understand our workforce type under attendance and shift management. The poll is now once again open. Let me know your workforce type, whether they are office, employees, site, or a combination of both. Once again, I encourage all of you to vote. Thank you for your participation. I see that most of you are office based and some of you are mixed of all. For different types of workforce, Zoho People allows you to restrict geo and IP restriction. This geo and IP restriction ensures employees can mark attendance only from an authorized location. Now let's go inside Zoho People and see this in action. Please give me a quick thumbs up if my Zoho dashboard is visible. Thank you. Once you open your Zoho People account, this is your dashboard. You can check in here itself. And you can view the summary of all Zoho People's module here. When it comes to attendance summary, you can view the shift and rectify any upcoming shift. Likewise, you can view any balance and apply for leave. Use your HR help desk module if you have any queries. You can also view if you have any approvals pending, as well as any timesheets or time logs. Let's take a closer look at the attendance module. In the left menu, navigate to attendance. Here you can view the weekly summary of all of your attendance. You can also view your daily attendance, as well as monthly attendance. You can use the timeline here and view the check-in and check-out location. Raise a regularization request. If your company allows, you can also view the expected and worked hours report. You can use the regularization tab to view any pending, approved, rejected, or cancelled regularization requests. In depth, you can also view your shifts. To understand more about how we can configure this module, let's navigate to the settings. Settings, under attendance, in the configuration tab, navigate to specific policies. Before we move to specific policies, let's first learn regularization. When an employee raises a regularization request, which is the missed entry, it can either create a new check-in or replace the existing entry. You can choose if you want to replace or create a new entry. Then you can add reasons to select while raising the regularization request. The employee may have not checked in because of perhaps some error or even connectivity issues. You can also remove any existing reasons. You can also allow or disable an employee from uploading supporting document to prove their attendance. You can also add restriction. For example, regularization requests can only be raised within 3 days from the current date. Enable, and you can mention the number of days. In this case, he cannot regularize because the rule is set up as such that the employee can only raise regularization requests from 3 days until today. You can also restrict an employee to only raise 1 or 2 requests a week. This can also be in monthly or pay period. You can also disable an employee from raising a regularization request for future date. Now you can click on Save. Now let's navigate and see how breaks can be added. To configure breaks under the same configuration tab, navigate to breaks. Here you can see the existing breaks and the status. You can also delete existing breaks. Use the filter option to view different breaks for based on shifts and modes. To add a new break, click on Add Break. Here you can name your break. Choose a specific color and icon. You can also select paid or unpaid break. If you select paid, the timing taken during this lunch break will be added as payable hours. But if you mark it as unpaid, the time taken will be marked as non-payable hours. Then you have automatic and manual. Once you click on automatic, it defines as you have fixed hours of break. Let's say from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. is your lunch break. So even if the employee does not check out during this break hour, this 1 hour will be deducted from their daily totable hours. However, by enabling your employees to manually click on break timer, you can define during which period the employees are allowed to take this lunch break. Example, from 12 3 p.m. 12 to 3 p.m. is 3 hours, but you want your employees to only take 1 hour. In this case, you can also limit your allowed duration. This allowed duration is only applicable for manual. You can also add multiple ranges. You can select if this break applies to specific shift. For example, production shift B, production shift A, part-time, remote, or any shift employees. And click on Save. Your break is added successfully. Now, let's move to the specific policies. Custom policies for different types of shifts, users, and employment types, or based on department types, you can click on Add Specific Policies. Name your policy. For example, you want a specific attendance policy for your sales employees. Perhaps your production employees. And select the number of applicability. Once you name your policy and your applicability based on whether shift users or your employment types or department, you can calculate the total hours either from first check-in and last checkout or by validating every check-in and checkout. First check First check-in and last checkout means an employee who checks in at 9 a.m. morning, then takes a lunch break to check out from 12 to 1 p.m. and he checks out at the end at 6 p.m. In this case, the 1 hour break they took when they checked out at 12 to 1 will not be added into the system. It will show as though the employee was working from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. However, if you want every single check-in and check-out of your employees to be shown in the system, you can click on Valid Every Check-in Check-out entry. When it comes to expected hours per day, it can be strict or lenient mode. When it comes to strict mode, you can set up minimum hours for full and half day. For example, any employee who works less than 8 hours, which is your minimum criteria for a full day, will be marked as half day. And any employee who works less than 4 hours, which is a minimum half day criteria, will be marked as absent. This can also be set manually or it can be added based on shift hours. Then comes lenient mode. A lenient mode does not have a full or half day. The expected hours can be mentioned and the worked hours will be added as payable hours. Can also be set manually or based on shift. You can also allow overtime and deviation calculation separately for reporting purpose. Imposing maximum hours per day. So this is used to set maximum working hours for employees and it can be both fixed for full and half day in strict mode. Minimum hours for lenient mode. A round off basically means that an employee who has checked in perhaps 5 minutes late, his timing will be rounded off with the shift hours starting or ending time. For example, if the shift starts at 9 a.m., any check-in time before 9 a.m., which is 8:45 or 9:15, which is 15 minutes late, will be automatically rounded off as 9 a.m. itself. This is the same for checkout as well as rounding off for total working hours. Then comes grace period. When it comes to grace period, for example, employee checks in 10 minutes late. Perhaps 30 minutes late and checks out early by perhaps 1 hour. And for the entire week, that employee has been doing it for 2 times or more than 2 times. At this stage, when he is late for the third time, 1 day of his leave will be deducted. Leave balance will be deducted. You can also choose between which leave this deviation action should be deducted from. Once an employee exceeds the deviation limit, you can also enable notification email and customize them to be sent to the employee. Then we have permission. When it comes to check-in and check-out option, Zoho People allows employees to check in either on website or mobile application apart from biometric devices, FTP, or even any other external API. So you can allow an employee to check in from website or mobile, and you can make location sharing mandatory for each device. You can also restrict an employee from checking out from the same source that he checked in from, as well as you can restrict an employee from using the help of iOS Assistant for check-in and check-out. Then we have kiosking. Zoho People allows kiosk, which is a method that allows employee to upload a quick live photo of themselves when they check in. Can be either done for just saving the employee's image or verification. This verification will be done against the profile image that they have uploaded in their Zoho People profile photo. If you want Zoho People to verify as well, you can click on these options. Then comes reports. Attendance report can be accessed, disabled for editing, adding, or viewing by both employee and reporting manager. You can configure your reports over here. We have reminders. If you want to remind your employee to either check in or check out, you can enable this option. You can enable a notification that would be not only sent to a mail, it would be sent for your mobile application as well as your web application if you have enabled this option. For example, you want your employee to receive a notification reminder to check in, perhaps 1 hour before their shift. Likewise, 10 minutes after their shift begins, you want the employee to receive a reminder to check in. You can also customize an email template. Then you can also set reminders for checkout. Apart from the employee receiving reminders, the reporting manager will also be able to receive notification in case the employee has checked in late, or if the employee has not checked in at all, or he has checked out early. Once you configure the notification and all the other configuration, click on Save. You can also decide when the new policy will be applicable for the employees. You have successfully added a specific attendance policy. Please give me a quick thumbs up if you are still with me. Thank you. Now let's navigate and set the overtime policies. The same configuration tab, navigate overtime policies. Here you can see the different types of overtime policies for each set of employees. You can clone the existing overtime policy, delete them, or disable them. To add a new one, click on Add Overtime Policy. Here you can add the policy. Name the policy, and now you are going to check the applicability. Applicability can be based on location, department, and employment type. For example, this is for HR employees. You can also enable and set required overtime rules. For example, by enabling daily overtime policy, you can track employees' daily overtime hours. For example, the limit would be 10 hours per day. Or you can set any hours that is more than their shift hours will be considered as overtime. Or any hours that is exceeding more than 10 hours will be considered as overtime. So you can also set weekly overtime. So any time period that is more than 45 hours a week will be considered as overtime. You can do the same for monthly, weekend, and holiday overtime limit. You can also enable an employee from viewing their own overtime policy. You can set up notification. When the limit has exceeded for overtime, the employee will be receiving a notification for monthly, yearly, weekly, and all of the available option here. Once you have set it up, click on Add, and the overtime policy is successfully configured. There are also other methods of configuration, like I have mentioned to you earlier, which can be biometric device, attendance API, FTP plugin, and others. Likewise, you can also apply any geo and IP restriction. We will be looking at this later on. Configure these IP ranges and geo ranges. Let's navigate to permissions. Here you can see the geo restriction. You can see the existing geo restriction for site operators. You can delete them or add a new one. For sales employees, you can create a geo restriction for field sales employees. Select your applicable service. For example, you want the employee to only check in and check out using this radius. Otherwise, you want that employee to only upload any files in this radius. So you can click the applicable service. Sorry. You can type your location. If you want your employee to only check in from your office location, you can type your office name. You can also use the search bar to find your location apart from your office location. You can also type latitude and longitude coordinates of your location. Or you can simply pin your location using the map. You can also use the drawing tools in the right-hand bar to select a specific range. Employees only within this range will be able to check in. You can also use the Show My Location icon . The system will automatically detect your current location. This geo restriction can be applicable either for all users or you can select specific users. You can map this restriction for either based on location, department, designation, or roles, or individually for specific set of employees. Now, let's say we're mapping this location for all of the Brunei employees. However, specific employees from Brunei do not have this geo restriction. So you can use the exception button. You can give an exception for specific employees or a group of employees. It for geo restriction. You can click on Save. Now let's move to IP restriction. Click on Add IP restriction. Here you can add the from and to IP address. Select the applicable service. IP restriction is also similar to geo restriction. You can give applicability as well as exception. Once you have given your applicability and exception, you can click on save. That's all for attendance now. Now let's move to shift management. We are now going to walk through shift management in Zoho People, whether how you define, assign, and manage multiple shifts dynamically. Once a shift is assigned, attendance is automatically calculated based on that shift without any manual adjustments. When teams work in different timings or location, managing shift in Excel becomes difficult and error prone. Zoho People allows HR to define clear shift structures for different types of shift, such as fixed, rotational, or flexible. Let's run one more quick poll. Understand how complex are your shift structures so that we can customize the demo based on that. Encourage all of you to vote. Right. Most of you have only single fixed shift, but some of you also have multiple shift. So we will see how we can add multiple shift as well as weekly rotation. You have multiple shifts for different set of employees as well or a single shift for different set of employees. You can clearly define the shift for each set of employees. We can map it based on individually for every single person or in bulk based on either department or location. Like I have mentioned to you, we also have shift patterns in Zoho People. Clearly defined shift patterns removes confusion and employees know exactly when they are supposed to work. Zoho People allows you to automate this shift scheduling process for your employees using the shift pattern features. These rosters or patterns help HR plan weekly or monthly work schedule in advance. Likewise, the system also highlights conflicts automatically, which reduces the last minute clashes in shifts. Let me create a shift like I have mentioned to you so that you can see how it works in real time. Get to Zoho People. From your dashboard, you can navigate to Settings, Shift. Under the Configuration tab, click on Manage Shift. Here you can see the list of number of shifts that are already existing. You can delete them or you can select multiply and export the existing shift. If you have more than tens and hundreds of shifts, you can also import them. To add a single shift, click on Add Shift and select the shift name. Select a specific color and the time. As the name suggests, if you do not have a specific working hours or if you are not strict with your hours, you can enable and adjust the shift margin option. For example, the shift starts at 9 a.m. and ends at 6 p.m. However, the employee can check in as early as 8 a.m. and check out as late as 10 p.m. This is your shift margin. Then comes co-working hours. You can enable and configure co-working hours for a specific shift. These are fixed hours when employees are required to be present at work. Once enabled, co-working hours are also tracked separately for shift. For example, a general shift that is from 9 to 6 p.m. with a co-working hours, for example, from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. So employees who are working from this 6 to 2 to 6 p.m., it will enable the company to operate more efficiently since they are supposed to be working in this co-working hours by restricting them from taking breaks during this hour. This also allows your team to have a more supportive collaboration. You can define your weekend. The weekend can be based on either location or shift. The weekend configuration for location applies as such that your initial configuration where you have mentioned specific location and their weekend that will be applicable. Hence, you do not have to make any difference over here. However, if you click on shift, based on specific shift, weekends will be categorized. You can also allow half or full working day and weekend. If you click on this, you can define Sundays as full day and alternative Saturdays as half day. You can also define whether if it's the first half that will be working day or second half that will be weekend. If you disable, all leaves will be full days of holiday. You can also define whether these holidays, in either of them, which one is the statutory holiday. This statutory holiday is also available even if you have full and half working day. Then you can allow a specific standard amount for all of the employees who are applicable to this specific shift. For example, 200 BND. Now we are mapping this shift to, we are mapping this bulkly. When it comes to bulk mapping, you have only two options, which is location and department. You can either choose either of them or you can choose both of them as well. For example, under the specific location Brunei, you can choose only one department for this specific shift. Click on save. Now we are going to map shift for each employee. Since we have already seen how to map it bulk, let's navigate to operations. Under operation, move to shift. Please note that shift configuration and operation configurations are different. So in under operation, we can map. Navigate to employee shift mapping. Here you can view the existing shift pattern. By default, the weekly view is available. You can also view the daily shift. You can use the filter option to see the shift for specific employees based on their department, designation, location, or existing shift. Click on Assign Shift to assign shift for specific employees. You can also map bulkly over here as well. Now we are going to only map for individually. So select the shift that you have created and you can add the from date from which this shift applies for this employee kit. You do not have to enter an ending date for this shift when you're assigning a specific shift. But this is not the same for shift pattern, which we will be looking at next. So you can add the reason why this specific employee has been changed. Click on submit. Zoho People also shows you any conflict or existing shifts. For this, navigate back to settings, shift, and shift pattern. Here you can add shifts or you can choose from the gallery that Zoho People gives you. You can use either of them or create your own. Your shift pattern. You can select if it's monthly or weekly. Let's go for weekly itself. Then whether you can choose between 2 weeks or 1 week. Let's choose 1 week. Use the add button to add shifts for each day. A production employee. Click on preview pattern and you can view the pattern. If you have validated the pattern, click on save. If you have the same pattern for an existing shift, you can see the conflict that the error message has shown. Now let's map this pattern to specific employee or specific set of employees. For that, you need to navigate back to operations. We have configured employee shift mapping. Now we are going to configure shift pattern for different employees. So click on map shift pattern. This map shift pattern will only be available if you have added a shift pattern already. So we have already added a weekly production shift. You can see the existing pattern that is applicable for the employee. You can map new shift based on location, department, roles, and groups. Likewise, you can map this specific pattern for one employee only. Different roles in the Zoho People. Click on which pattern you want to apply for this specific employee. And the effective start and end date. It is important for you to add an end dating for shift pattern and you can click on save. Before that, you can also preview the pattern. You can also view the conflict that shows. You can see that the existing pattern is sales field employee, but we are moving that new pattern to weekly production. If you want to add the new pattern and replace the existing pattern, you can click on save. And the new pattern will be mapped successfully. Thing is finalized unless it is approved by the reporting manager or HR. This ensures that attendance data is validated before it is impacted on salary or report. Late night check-in or early checkout, overtime, regularization request, all of these they follow an approval workflow. This ensures that attendance data is reviewed and approved before it is finalized. For example, an employee misses a punch in, comes late, or leaves early, they can request a regularization request. Once all of the data are validated and approved, this is where the HR saves the maximum time, which is the reports. HR and managers can instantly access these reports like daily, late in or late out, overtime, and absenteeism reports. These reports are also available in real time and can be exported, therefore eliminating the manual reporting preparation. Give you a quick recap. Zoho People gives you zero manual attendance, which means no Excel or registers. Also, accurate payroll as approved data flows cleanly. It also gives you a clear shift visibility where the managers will know who is working when. The employee self-service portal also leads to less HR dependency, and scalable HR operation means ready for future growth. This is what modern HR should look like, which is simple, clear, and fully automated. So far, we have covered shifts, attendance, payroll readiness, and real-world use cases. I'll now open the floor for questions related to your current challenges or requirement. Due to time restraint, if I am unable to answer, I will mail the response to your queries after the webinar. Please post your question in the Q&A section. Based on today's session, we can support you with custom demo, free trial activation, which is using the link that is sent in the chat box, and a policy discussion to align the Zoho people with your actual HR rules. If you need any help during setup or want us to configure it for you, our team is also available to reach out on the contact details shown over here. Thank you for your time and interaction today. Now we will be taking the questions. Right? Thank you very much for your time and interaction today. It was pleasant interacting with you and joining with us today. Stay tuned for more updates on different topics in Zoho People and other Zoho products, as well as all of our services in TekyDoct. We look forward to supporting your HR digital transformation journey with Zoho People and TekyDoct.